Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we're live on a Friday lunchtime, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with feelings. And what I want to talk about today is the feeling about taking steps in the right direction, and why the reality of that is sometimes life takes a lot longer than you think it's going to. And what I'm hoping when you listen to this broadcast is you'll realize that even though life, you try to take a right step, you end up making a mistake. But 9 times out of 10, the mistakes you make either lead you into a better direction or brings you to another solution for something else. And that's really what I want to talk about. Hi there, Jody. For those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin, and she does incredible work in the background here, and I'm so grateful to her. Thanks, Jody. Good to see you here. So, our quotes today are going to be about taking steps in the right direction. The first one I have is small steps in the right direction can turn out to be the biggest steps of your life. And so, what I want you to do is to have some level of patience about taking those steps. And while we're just thinking about it, I just wanted to say that we had a couple of birthdays, have had them and coming up. Um, Emily's birthday is on the 9th. What are we on now? Huh, the 11th. So hers was on the 9th. Let me just go back here. Um, Yesterday would have been Bubba's birthday. For those of you who remember, Louisiana Laurie and Bubba, um, both have passed in the last year. Um, but it would have been Bubba's birthday. So Bubba, if you can hear us, we're still thinking of you. And we've got Lauren's birthday coming. Lauren in Tasmania, her birthday's coming up on the 17th, and then Andy's is on the 18th. Those are probably, and Lionel's on the 19th. So those are probably names that some of you know and some of you don't, but that's okay. I just want to make sure that for those old timers who are listening in, we don't forget. If you're on the database, you stay there until I have reason to remove you. And 9 times out of 10, why would I? Because I have very fond memories attached to people, and I intend to. I'm very selfish. I intend to keep them. So if you're a regular viewer or listener, because I know some of you like to listen to the broadcasts or watch them on the replay, and if you've had a birthday this week or got one coming up in the coming week, and I didn't mention you, please let me know. It means that you're not on our database. So just write to us at dearmamasal@gmail.com, or send me a text or do whatever you want to do, just so that I can make sure that we add you to the database. So I'm hoping that you've had a good week. I know Jody has. And I say, well, actually, before I get on to Jody, and just bear with me a moment, I was going to say, if you've had a bad week, maybe thinking about what happened on Maui will bring some perspective. And, for those of you who don't know, there's a whole section of Maui that just was totally destroyed. Unfortunately, a fire happened at the same time as a hurricane came in. And so those hurricane winds fanned a fire that destroyed basically about 80% of a town. And people were literally running to the water to save their lives. And I think over 50 people have died already that they found. And I'm certain we'll hear about a lot more. But very, very, very sad. And when you live on a small island, there are not many places to run to if there's trouble. And it must have been so frightening, so frightening. And so, I look at it and go, whatever's going on in your life, imagine that one. And I said to myself, heaven just turned into hell, because I always think that the Hawaiian Islands are heaven. And it just, in a heartbeat, it went from heaven to hell. And it will take a lifetime for that community to recover in any way. To be able to just restart living in cleaning up, doing all those things, environmentally saving it, and goodness knows what else. It will take another decade, not 2 decades probably. No more. I think it'll take a lifetime, somebody's lifetime to get. There'll be people my age going, I remember the fire. And I remember what this town was like before the fire. And that's going to be, an interesting thing. However, a lot of people will have learned a lot from this. A lot of people will reevaluate themselves and living on an island for some people. It's just like, it is scary when you live on an island. Where do you go? Yeah, Jody's saying it's heartbreaking to see the news clips. Absolutely. So if you are able to, obviously send some donation to help them feed those people and house them as best they can. Again, very expensive to get all the food into that area, very expensive to do everything. So the food bank is calling for donations, just so that and I mean money donations. It's the best way that you can possibly help if you're capable. And if you're saying, but I don't have enough money, for those of you who do the math well, if everybody in the world gave $1, can you imagine how much money they'd have? And so, it's really every little bit will help. So, taking steps in the right direction. Now, some of you know that a year ago, just about, I think it's just about now, I went for a mammogram, found out I had cancer, or found out I needed another mammogram. And then by September, they did a second one. And by October, I knew I had cancer. And then by November, I had a mastectomy. And so it's been quite a process. In February, I started taking a drug to kill off the estrogen in my body, because the sort of cancer I had feeds off estrogen. And that took me from here down to here in terms of my energy level. I went into brain fog. I went into, it was just like, luckily, I managed to keep my mental health together. And so, um, after 6 months, which was last month, I went back to the cancer clinic, and they said, we need to take you off this drug. It's affecting your life too much. You've certainly given it a good go. And I said, well, thank you for that. I did try. But here's the funny thing. I have been without the drug now for a couple of weeks. And what is amazing in terms of the step in the right direction is that it has literally changed my creativity. My creativity went from 0 to 60, like almost immediately. I noticed that before I was sitting all day long, basically playing video games, because that's all I had the mind to do, and forcing myself to get up and do stuff. Now I'm forcing myself to sit down and do nothing and play video games. That is the difference. It is really quite scary, the difference. All right, so I wanted to talk about Jody's change this week. She got air conditioning back. Now, that might seem like, so. Well, you know what the heat's been like. And for those of you who don't know, Jody is pretty well housebound due to illnesses and stuff. And lives in New Hampshire. And so there's been some pretty heavy heat going on. And I am certain that life for Jody just changed completely. And so, Jody, well done. And I know it was an incredibly long journey, but somewhere along the line, you did the right steps. And, she's been waiting. What happened was, um, somehow or other, one of the lines in her house, she's in an apartment in a no, excuse me, in a house, and one of the electrical lines went out. And it's been out since February, if you can believe it. And you're saying, well, how come she didn't complain? Well, they did. And they did, and they did, and they did. And then now, 6 months later, they got it fixed. Yay. And Jody, and it's like, I know that you adjusted because, you learned not to turn certain things on in the house because otherwise you blow a breaker. Or, if you wanted to put something in, you pulled other things out, and so forth. But it must feel like you've got twice the house suddenly that you had before. And I know that is an incredible feeling when you sort of, when you go from small to a bigger thing. I kept remembering when I was thinking about you, I kept remembering what it was like going from living in the trailer, if I'd been out in the trailer for a week, and then coming back to my apartment. My house. I mean, my house felt like a huge mansion when I came back after living in my 24 feet of trailer for a week. So awesome. I'm very, very happy for you. So when you think about things in your life, understand not all of them go the way that you think they should or the way that you thought they would. But sometimes in that shift, there is learning. Jody's saying there was no light in the kitchen or bathroom since February. Lionel was in the kitchen with a flashlight every night, heating up dinner. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, there's one thing, Jody, that I would thoroughly recommend. Okay, hold on one second. Really, Jody, invest in a few of these. I have about 8 of them in the house. And in a power failure, and by the way, they just charge up with a USB. They don't take batteries. You just charge them up with a USB. But in a power failure, I've got enough light in the house to absolutely um, exist. And what I love about them is if you want them in different places, like in a cupboard or whatever, you can do that. And I've actually have them in strategic places. At night, if I get up and want to go to the kitchen, I don't turn on a single light. Why? These lead me where I want to go. And as soon as I pass, they turn off. It's a wonderful way of saving electricity. Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know why I don't think I realized that you didn't have light in the kitchen. Otherwise, I would have said, invest in a couple of these in the kitchen. And because they're LEDs, and let me just turn it on. Yeah, it's amazing how bright they are. You can probably see it here. But they're motion detectors, right? You can turn it on to motion detecting so that if it's dark and there's a motion, it will automatically turn on. All right. So like that. And I want to tell you, even when I went to go and stay with Dougie for a week, you remember, 10 days when I had the operation, I took 2 of these with me. I'm so used to having them now and not having to turn on a light when they get up at night. I took 2 of them with me, and I was, it was amazing. He said, "Why did you bring lights?" And I said, "I'm just used to not turning on lights." So I brought my own with me. Okay, hang on a second. And talking about a step in the right direction, I actually have them on my steps coming into my house so that as anybody gets close to them, they automatically turn on so that you can see the steps in the staircase easily coming up. I've got about 4 or 5 steps. And I just recharge them every month, and it works. So, Jody, it's going to be very different again, all right, for you as as you adjust to having these new power in your life. And on the other hand, I'm pretty certain that you've learned to do without power in very creative ways. It's said here, it is better to take many small steps in the right direction than to make a giant leap forward only to stumble backwards. And I want to tell you that if you start doing anything that's new, you, you, you need to get a sense of humor. Some of you will know that I have started a new hobby, and that's making soap. And I'm loving every moment of it. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about Sandy's creativity. I heard from Sandy this week, and I just want to show you what she's been up to. I asked permission to show you. Hang on, just want to get that for you. Here's the first one. Look what she's been making. Aren't they adorable? And then yeah, she already started making winter stuff. And what I love is when viewers share their creativity with me because, um, we haven't heard from Sandy for a while, and it's like, it's really great that she sends stuff so that I can. Yes, she's so talented, isn't it? Very professional about everything she does. So when I say very professional, but you can tell she's really a crafter's crafter, you know what I mean? And I say that because, I'm definitely not what I read in that league. It was a good idea when I moved it. Right. So sometimes you're going to take steps forward only to stumble backwards. But sometimes going backwards, suddenly you see a new path to something. And I want to show you how many different things went wrong this week in making soap. But then how many creative things came to my mind because of it. So here we go. First of all, I just want to get this up. I didn't brought those with me. 1 second. So first of all, you will remember that I finished this, and it's a present for somebody. Um, is it beautiful? And then I realized I need a box for it, and I got the box. And it has a window in it so you can see what's inside. But now I need a couple of things. I need a label on each of the soaps that says what the weight is. And I also need an identifier, which is on there. But then I also need ingredients. Okay. Now, the interesting thing that I hadn't thought about is every soap is slightly different. So every batch is different because it has maybe made with different soaps or different fragrances or whatever. But then even if you are, pouring exactly the same soaps, the chances are, let me give you an example. Okay, these are 3 spa bars that I made. Where's my weight thing? Hang on. Okay, so here's the first one is 3.1 ounces, 3.1 ounces, 2.9. All right? So what's this one? 2.9. So how did I manage to get two of them exactly 3.1 and two of them exactly 2.9? I have no idea. But that's what I do because I don't do things the way other people do. Which means every time I make a soap, I'll try and show you this without ruining anything. Okay, that'll do. All right, so do you see that here it has a net weight? And it's both in ounces and in grams, both official languages. So now I realize that instead of being able to, I started off by going, okay, fine, I've got the soap thing here, and I will just print out, let me show you. Yeah, I will just print out the labels. Yeah, which is fine, except I then realized, wait a minute, all these labels say 3 ounces, and none of them are 3 ounces. Or none of them is. And it's just like, well, that was a waste of paper. And then I thought, now what do I do? Well, that led me to something else. And that's what I want to tell you, that sometimes that mistake leads you to a better plan. I then found out in the program that I use that I can actually tell it to actually print that square, right? Like there are 4, they're missing here, but there are 4 across and 6 down. I can tell it, please print, let's say, number 5, which means that I can literally sit there and go, okay, number 5 is 3.1, number 6 is 3.1, number 7 is 2.9. Do you understand? I can actually put that in and then just tell it to print 6 to 9, 6 to 10. Units 6 to 10, and I'll have the right ones. I didn't know how to do that last week. I do now. Now, here's the other thing. We've got this beautiful thing, we've got this, and then we've got the label at the bottom. But here's what I realized. Different people like different fragrances. So this one is lavender. Except, is it? I think it's eucalyptus. Very possible. So you understand, I only realized that is a problem. So I've got to do the same thing with all the ingredients, is to make sure I've got the right fragrance tab for the right soap. But if I hadn't made the mistake, I wouldn't have learned so much more, because now I also know how to get into this and just print out individual ones. But do you think at the time I was cursing just a tad? And if you watch me now, you go, gosh, she is so good at that. I've had a lot of practice this week. And then the other thing I found out was one second. You need to have a system. Because if you don't have a system, you've absolutely missed, I want to tell you. So I have now a special sheet where each batch of soap, I'm keeping track of what fragrance did I put in it, What soap did I use? What fragrance did I put on it? Because otherwise you lose track. I'm busy working with 4 or 5 different sorts of soaps every week. And it's just like, what did I put in there? Tea tree? No. um, and the other thing that I've done is I got a big binder now where I've got everything in there. And then I realized put that away. That I was going to need to change my website. And it's way beyond my pay grade, some of the stuff that needs to happen. So I got hold of Matthew, those of you who remember way back days of Matthew, and said to Matthew, okay, this is what I need on the website. And just do me a favor, just do it for me. I'm learning now. It's going to cost me money, but just do it, because then my mind needs to be on things I can do fairly easily, and getting that website set up the way that it needs to be. It's good. It takes somebody who knows what they're doing. I'll do it a darn sight faster. It would take me a month, and it'll take him hours. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's the difference. So that's underway. So we'll be able to use the website soon. I'm quite excited about that. And yet, the system needs to be enough that I can adapt very quickly. And so now what I do is it's really interesting how things have changed in a week. Now, if I'm making a batch of soap, it has its own container, and it has its own, little batch thing in it, right, where I can make notes and do stuff like that. And that travels all the time with it. Okay. Now, how many of you remember the rose quartz? That was the loaf that I did with the roses on top. And everybody is saying, when you cut the ends off that loaf of soap, people sell those ends. And I'm thinking, why don't I utilize them? Because they're pretty. They've got good colors in them and everything else. They're pretty. It's just I could utilize them. So I had a new soap come in this week, Castile soap. And what I did is I took the rose quartz ends and I dropped them in. What do you think? And when you look at this, what does it remind you of? And the reason, by the way, it smells so good. There's something about the smell of that soap. And that's purely a soap. I didn't put any essence in there. So what does that remind you of when you see it? And for me, it was strawberry shortcake. And so here is the test bar of strawberry shortbread. And if you remember the original bar, can I get it out? I can show you enough. All right, had the roses on top and had the rose quartz look inside. All right. And now the bits that came off the end of that loaf turned into that. Now, is that a good use of soap? What I love about soap is you can reuse it. If you do a batch and you don't like it, you can reuse it. Or if you do a color and you've got way too much, hang on to it, because you can then incorporate it in other ones. Manon, comment ça va? Did you see that I sent you a note, Manon? All right. Maybe I did. I think I did. Anyway, I just Manon, could you send me privately. Don't put it here. I just need to know. You can tell me this here. Is your address still the same? Okay. And talking about that, this spa bar was made with the leftover ends from the original sea breeze, which we're going to talk about in a second. Okay, no problem, Manon. I just need to send you something. Okay, so now then, here was the next thing. I sent, how many of you remember I made a dragonfly for Siora? Hang on, let me get the dragonfly so you can see it. So these are individually made. I don't do them in a batch. They're individually made. Okay. So here is, I made hers with eucalyptus because she particularly asked for that. But, and this is for somebody else, but it's traveling with its own piece of paper, people. Please see this. Manon, may I share that publicly for people who are listening to this on the replay that know you? That is so exciting. Oh, you like the dragonfly, Jeannie? Yes. And I did two. I did one green like this, and then I did one blue with a silver shimmer on it. Okay. So she loved it so much that she took the second one. It's gone. It's like, okay, fine. This one's hers, but she took a second one for a friend. So isn't that interesting? Now, easy to do? No. But as I said, why would I do something easy? It's not who I am, right? I love being creative. So let's go back to the sea breeze. Some of you remember the original sea breeze that I don't have anymore. May I share? May I talk about it because it'll be on the replay, Manon? So exciting. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, so you will remember that we make the sea breeze, all right? And then you will remember I'll show you that in a second. But what I realized, of course, is that every loaf that I make, every slice will be different. Can I get this one out without ruining it? Yep. Okay. So the inside of this one, okay, there will never be another piece of soap like that. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because I made another loaf last week. And when I took it out, it was so much darker because I had done it differently. Okay, so Manon's saying that I should hold off on telling everybody. Let me know when I can share. But thank you for letting us know. We'll keep our fingers crossed, right? So you understand, this one came out so much darker. But I made seashells to go on top. Hi, Sharon. So this is like, they're completely different. And for some reason, the first one was different again, right? Because the first one I did was more like this. So I realized that, because I use different soaps and I'm experimenting with different things, every bar of soap I do or slice of soap I do is going to be completely different. And as I was saying to you, the weights are completely different, right? So again, and this is all, this all takes time. This original Sea Breeze or number 2 Sea Breeze, 3.5 for that slice. This one, 4.2. So this is why I cannot mass produce the labels with the weight on them, because they're all different. It's unique. Now, you want the good news? I sent Sierra off with some of this Sea Breeze from the previous week. And one of her clients, she only had it in her place for one day. One of the clients walked in, took one look at that and said, I want a whole loaf. Oh, Sharon, by the way, who also makes soap, she handwrites the weight on each label. Yes. Very good. If I could, I've just got arthritis and stuff. If I could do it nicely, I would. It's easier for me to actually do it mechanically. And I've got it set up that it's really easy. Now, here's the other thing for those of you who've got a sense of humor. Each time I do this, I have my computer that I'm working on in the living room, and I set it all up there. I then walk to Confetti Corner to feed in the right paper, the right labels into the thing, and then walk back and hit go, and then walk back and go get the label. Now, some of you are going, so why don't you use the computer that I've got a computer in Confetti Corner because of doing the Christmas villages. And I said, it's like my exercise program. Oh, Sharon's saying about writing the weight. She's saying, I didn't say I write it nicely. I love it. Anyway, so I'm very excited about this. So here's the thing. So then Ciora took the thing in, and this one woman said, I'll take a whole loaf. Ask her to make me a whole loaf. And I went, okay, fine, I can do it. And then I'll probably take another loaf at Christmas time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am glad to say that we have our first order. And when I say our first order, in terms of actually somebody other than my family and friends, and Manon can understand what I'm saying about the steps. What I'm trying to do is to make this a hobby that also exercises me. So I spend a lot of time standing, rather than sitting down, standing at my freezer, because I use my freezer as my worktop, all right, to do stuff. And then I walk back to my computer and when I need a rest, and I do stuff, and then I go back, so I'm really trying to incorporate it so that I come to the kitchen to warm up the soap and everything. So it's all quite exciting stuff, but the thing is that I get really scared. And the reason I get scared is because I'm a creative person. And so everything I do leads me to 5 other ideas. Do any of you relate to that? So to try and keep the lid on, can we just deal with this at the moment? And but my mind is so creative at the moment that I'm going, but if I can do that, then I can do this. I'm going, slow it down. So, Manon says she can relate. And that's one of the things about a creative person. And especially one of the things, when they wrote the book Men Are from Mars and Women from Venus, is because, if you've got that sort of a mind where one idea leads to 6 others, and Sharon's saying, I totally understand, my poor craft room. Something I said to Ciora, I need you to come in here an extra day, and we're going to pull everything out of that studio, and we're going to set it up for soaps. Where are the prices listed? They are about to be listed on the website, and I will let you know. But if there's anything that you're interested in, just let me know, Jeannie, and I'll let you know what the going price is at the moment. And but can you understand? It's just a tad scary because in one day I sold a full loaf, and that's like, hmm, that's, and we knew that the sea breeze was pretty. Right? But if you've seen this one and the next one looks like this, I've got to try and get some more consistency. So now what I'm doing today, hold on. Soap when you first pour it is heavy. So this is now sea breeze number 3. No, 1, 2, 3. Actually, number 4. I don't have number 1. I wish I still had a number 1 because it was so different. Anyway, so the thing that I'm doing now is I am making sure I know roughly how much weight of color I'm putting in each one. And then I will be able to get a little bit more consistent. And I'm going to find a way to do that. Now, this was using shea butter. Shea butter is more a creamy color than the pure white. All right. Now, the other thing we found was this foam, until it's really hardened up, can come off fairly easily. So what I did was I decided I would take some and cut them up for little samples. And then what I did was I just added a bit more of the foam on top, right? So I did some of these. But I thought they were quite cute. Because I found for Ciora, it's really nice for her to be able to let people touch them without touching the main product. Do you understand what I'm saying? That they can smell them and do whatever, but don't touch the product and get it dirty. We found that's really useful. So there we go. Now, here's the next thing that happened. When I was busy making the new foam for these little ones, I'm going, how do I keep these tiny little ones standing upright while the foam dries? And it just so happened at the same time I had just pulled some ice cubes out of the freezer, and I went, that's perfect, right? So then what I did, see, this is what I love about creativity, right? So what I did was I had them all standing up in the ice cube trays. So I had them like this, and I went, wait, ice cube trays, squares. Expect to see in the very near future, next couple of weeks, I'm going to make some what's the word I'm thinking of? Where you've got one color here, one color here, one color here, one color. Polka dots and squares. What do you call that? Oh gosh, why can't I think of that name? I had it just as I started to talk about it. Anyway, has somebody helped me here? So in other words, this would be blue and this would be white, and then this would be blue and then this would be white. What do you call that? Checkerboard. Checkerboard. Now rainbow would be nice too, but anyway, it'd be checkerboard. That's what I'm going to work on. Like I haven't got enough to do. Now I'm going to play with things like, but you see what happens to me? I started with this, and then I ended up with the, It's very, very interesting. Yeah. And Jody, just so you know, polka dots are in my mind because I know you love polka dots. But you know, what I find interesting, what I find interesting is different people like different things, and that's why I'm doing the research at the moment. You know, these are the shampoo bars, okay, and you know these are plain, no fragrance in them, but some people love them with the roses on top, and some people don't. Yeah, exactly. Sharon's saying, what about making your samples in the ice cube tray? Exactly. You see, that's what I'm saying. Every day I go, oh, that would work. Now, what happened to me today? Oh, I know. I was busy downsizing with Sierra. And by the way, we're doing really well. We've probably got about, I would say, probably a third of the shed is now sorted. I cannot tell you how much stuff I've thrown out. Bags and bags of stuff have gone out every week. And every week, you know, I'm getting better. But what I found was something that I had pictures of some artwork that I was doing at the time, very early on in my art, when I was doing this artwork stuff. And I thought, you know, this is a really good thing, this thing. If I had my soaps in here, and then people could flip through them while their hair's getting done. What do you think? And I could have two, one on each side. So I'm thinking that's a good idea, especially for Christmas. And Ciora also took some of my cards because she likes my cards too. So we're getting there. Ah, what else did I have to talk to you about? But can you see that all the time it's just like and another step forward. Now the other thing I'm finding is it totally messes with my um, sleep pattern because now that I'm not on the drug, you know, I can have 4 hours sleep and wake up and think, you know, if I did, well, let me go and do that right now. And I'm happy as can be doing it. And the other thing is talking about, you know, going backwards and forwards and doing stuff. I'm putting in 6,000 steps a day without going near my mini bike. You know, it's just like, how many steps did I do? You know, it's just, you know, so different. Now, when Ciora was here yesterday, one of the things that happened was we loaded up the truck with all the stuff that's going to Goodwill. And she was literally fired up her big kick-ass truck. I came back inside and went, where's my phone? So, where is my phone? You know? So I screamed back out and I said, you know, luckily caught her just before she left and said, did you by any chance pick up my phone instead of yours? And she said, no, but then came out and, you know, came into the house with me. Do you know where we eventually found my phone? I wouldn't have found it because I wouldn't have been able to hear it. You know, I said to her, um, I, you know, can you phone my number because you will be able to hear it, but I can't. And you know, it was in a box, and luckily not one going to recycling, but I had put it in a box of stuff that I was keeping. All right, so both Manon and Jeannie are talking about how much better I look for being off the drug. It is amazing, isn't it? Um, yeah. And Manon's saying, I love how passionate and creative you are about the soaps. Well, I want to tell you something. It's just like it uses, you know, it uses so many of the things that I love to do. You know, it's like mud pies, you get really dirty. It's like creative, like how do I make foam? And then, you know me, I love to recycle. So what am I going to do with this leftover soap? So the other thing I'm going to use the ice cube trays for is to put leftover colors in there and just have cubes. And the cubes will be cut to make more soaps like this. Then, last night I thought, this is some leftover soap. What if I put it in a mason jar? How do I get it out? And I'm thinking maybe when it dries enough, it'll come out. What do you think? I've managed, I know that it's completely okay around the edges. It's just coaxing it to let go of the bottom. Oh, I think maybe it moved a bit. So if anybody's got any bright ideas or knowledge of that, let me know. Oh, I think this moved. Yeah, so it's really been an incredibly creative week. Now, the big thing this week was packaging. That was my concentration, systems and packaging. So I was sending out a rose bloom, one of these ones, all right. But I thought I would add a shampoo bar in with it because it just fills out that combination nicely, right? Jeannie's saying, an update here. She's been saying that she's been having this terrible pain in that left shoulder of hers. She went to the doctor and got a cortisone shot. Oh, that's so painful. But she already feels better. That is awesome. Okay, so you like that. I'm going to do them in white containers. I got these black ones just to test them. But here's the thing. In order to do a double decker, I needed to find out how do I support this enough that when it's traveling, it doesn't shake too much. All right. So I've been experimenting with that. And then I realized that I need another box to drop it in where it doesn't move too much. All right. So it needs to be a tight box to then ship it. But what do I need? I need the right labels and the right ingredients for both of them. A lot of work went in this. And this is the legal stuff, telling you how to use soap. I always find that amazing that you have to actually tell people, don't eat it and keep away from children. And this is how you use it. But okay, I can do that. But don't you think that makes a nice little package? I'm working on the thing. But the good news is that when you move it around, the soap. Yeah, Manon's saying tissue paper, bubble wrap, recycled newspapers. I didn't want to put anything that covered them up because I think when you look at them, that is the ooh and ah moment. What do you think? When you can actually see them. So I didn't want to hide them. That's why I got one with, Jody's saying ready for gift giving. Yes, it will be when I've got it sorted out because it'll look a lot better than that. Yeah, Sharon saying those instructions mean that at some point a brilliant person ate the soap. Yeah, Manon's saying it is so cute. The window gives it a wow moment. That's what I thought as well. All right, that when you open it up, you go wow. And you're going to go like this and you won't smell anything because they're bubble wrapped. They're shrink wrapped. And I've been recycling Mr. Bezos from Amazon, his shrink wrap stuff to use for my soaps. It's very kind of him to supply me with it. Yeah, and Jody says it saves time for people, that it's already packaged like that. And I hadn't thought about doing a double-decker one, but Siora's going to get a couple of these where it's got a shampoo bar and something else at the bottom, one of the other ones. Now, I'm pretty sure oh, okay. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. This is so exciting, people. Hang on. It's even got a little cupcake holder in it. So let's do that. Put that in the right way. I just had another brilliant idea. Or I think I did. Okay. So I can fit 3 slices of sea breeze into one of these. Didn't know that when I woke up this morning. How exciting is that? Sharon saying, where does she think we'd go? We're all invested in this. Well, that's why I wanted to take you along the journey with me, because like everything else, what I want to make sure we remember is everything we do, when we learn something new and when we experiment, we're taking steps in the right direction or not. Yeah, 3 slices together look good, don't they? And of course, that will come at a different price. It's going to have a white box. Yeah, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? And so, but the same thing is I'm constantly looking to solve other problems, all right? And putting the window into these made the difference. So now, this is the lavender one, obviously because of the ribbon. So you see, all the time, it's like, what's the next step for me? What can I do that is right? And the same thing, Jody, with the polka dots. I already have the mold to do the polka dots. Now I'm trying to work out how to do it. And I use some foam soap, and the foam soap doesn't work well. Yeah, Sharon's saying a white box with colored shredded paper and 3 bars of soap. Cute. Yep. So I'd have to put the colored paper on top here. So and as you say, an instant Christmas present for somebody, because all they got to do is drop it into a little gift bag, and it's all done. And unique. And what I said to Ciora is, Ciora, anybody who thinks that handmade soap is a bit expensive, just remind them that if they bought it online, they'd have to pay an extra $10 just for the shipping. How much does that weigh? That's going to be an experiment. How much do 3 of them weigh? 13 ounces. Okay. So you notice I take notes now. I need to record that. So all that in a box without the shredded paper. 13 ounces. Now here's the exciting thing as well. I sent the first soap to Lauren because it's her birthday coming up this week. And it got to Tasmania. That's South Australia. You know, it's like a little island at the bottom of Australia, the bottom right-hand corner. In Tasmania. It got to her in 10 days. So that is awesome. You know, and I had the right box for that. But the box took 2 soaps, 2 regular soaps, right? The box takes 2 of these. So, you know, I sent 2. Ah, awesome. So Sharon's going to send me a copy of her worksheet. Thank you so much, honey. Isn't it fun, you see, when we can share this lot together? Anyway, so I found the perfect box for those, and it fits in, you know, like 2 soaps beautifully, absolutely no wiggle room at all. So, and off it went to Lauren. The second batch went to Jody, and that should be arriving this week, Jody. So let me know, because I'm trying to keep track of how long do these things take. Now, the third set will be going off this week, which is this. Now I'm going to be sending this off. How much does it cost? Yeah, but now I need it, and it's got another box that it needs to go around it. All right. So now I need to know how much does it cost me to mail this. And then I want to find the right packaging for the dragonfly, but I don't think I would ever send the dragonfly on its own because, you know, it would be too expensive. But what I said to Ciora is make sure people know that if they bought this online, they'd have to add another $10 just for the shipping. And quite honestly, to go to Australia costs more than $10. But, you know, I think the average price would be about $10. So that's what I will say. So what do you think? Yeah, Sharon loves the dragonfly. It was, you know something? It's like one of those things that's a labor of love. Can you imagine? I first of all put the gold glitter down into the mold, then the green, and then the rest. But before I can put the rest in, it's just like this is a labor of love. This is not an easy one to do. It's like the elephant. Now, the elephant won't be advertised until after Doug gets his, but, you know, that's like one layer of gold, then a layer of copper. Then there's a cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg type mixture in the soap, the brown soap. And then once that's dried, I then drop it into white. Not what you call easy, but you can see it makes me very happy because when I see that, I go, that isn't soap, that's artwork. Right? And I think people will appreciate that. Yeah. Stunning. I thought it was too. I wanted a bigger mold of that, but they don't make it yet. And I've never seen that done where you actually make a frame, you know. So it's like, It'll be interesting to see. The reason I am very interested with what Ciora is doing is because I want to see people who don't know me. What did they say? I said to her, please bring back to me the feedback, good or bad, I don't mind. I want to know what is their reaction. Is their reaction, wow, that is stunning, which is what happens to the sea breeze. Okay. I am certain this will have a stunning, as Sharon says. Um, I know that this is a beautiful soap, but it's priced differently from the ones that take all the effort. Now, that takes effort, but it's different effort. It's not fine work effort. Uh, the other thing is, with the sea foam, did I need to add seashells to it? No. But how many of you know adding the seashells to me just made the difference? And every night before I go to bed, I take some leftover soap and I make, these are conch shells. Is it beautiful? Oops. But last night I asked myself, what happens if I use silver? You see, that's what happens to me. So this is a conch shell using the silver glitter. I don't know if you can see the difference where it's silvery. And then I went, well, actually, there's nothing to stop you having both on, one of each. But some of the shells are so small, they're tiny. They drop to the bottom. I don't know if you can see, but there's some right at the bottom. They're really small. And it's just like, yeah, Manon is saying, I love the elephant one. I'm thinking this can work for a woman or a man, has decor possibilities in this. That's the other thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, Manon, because I'm now asking when people say to me, I want the bloom, right? And now it's really interesting because I go, do you want a bloom? For example, do you want a white rose on your bloom, or do you just want it as it is? Because it looks different, all right? And the other thing is, I found some people like the shimmer and some people like it plain. Then, here's what I ask people. Where's the white one? Oh. I don't know where it's gone. The white one with the red rose on top. So I'm asking, are you buying this soap because you're going to use it for decor? I think sea breeze people will buy for decor. Or are you buying it because you want to use the soap? And if I hear that they're using it for decor, then what I'm going to do is throw in a couple of samples of soap that they can use. All right? Because the idea is that they use soap. And, like a bar of strawberry shortbread, all right, or something, But, it's just like, I appreciate the fact that you love the creativity and you love the artwork of it. I'm trying to find, and it may take me a while, I'm trying to find a soap that just doesn't harden too quickly. This white soap I'm using at the moment, yeah, this one, between getting it liquid and it hardening is like in minutes, right? It goes from being liquid to being hard. So I can't do what I want to do because some of you know my long-term goal is to be able to do my artwork over soap. Imagine that. I can. But I need a soap that is liquid, but then will harden. So I believe it is possible to do. And I also know that I can do it in a soap. I'm just working on it. Yeah, sometimes some of them do. Now, I found the shea butter didn't, but this white one just has a different combination of something in it. And it's a good idea if you're mass producing that it does that, because it means you can go, you don't have to wait a week for the soap to harden enough to package it. But I was stunned, it's just like, I better get there quickly. So guys, I hope you can see that there have been a lot of steps backwards, but yet overall a lot of steps forward. Yeah, Manon's saying you'll find a way. I'm confident in that, to make your artwork into soap. Yeah, I really do believe it. Because if I believe it's possible, I just have to find the right soap that will stay liquid long enough for me to pour it. And, hang on. We know it's possible because they already make this. Mind you, this might be for resin. But you see, what I want to do is to actually put 3 different soaps in there, 3 different colors, and then pour it over the soap. Keep watching this channel, people. You know it's coming. How many times, here's the thing, how many times will I mess it up before I get it right? As many as it takes, right? Because again, to me, what I love about soap is even when you mess it up, it has use. See, and this is what makes it fun. This was the first firefly I tried. Firefly. Dragonfly. First dragonfly that I tried, and I didn't like it. And this was me playing with some process. Both didn't work, but how many of you know both those will get chopped up and used like this? So that even when it messes up, it still has use. This is used coffee ready for exfoliating bars. Oh. This is the leftover from the rose quartz, the end, that I turned into this. All right. Yeah. Mind you, when I was looking at it, I don't know if any of you agree with me. These are bits of rose quartz. I thought that looks a bit like pieces of ham. But luckily, when it got embedded, it didn't. So I'm happy. People will probably think it's ham and eat it. So can you see that all the time I'm learning so much more. And here, I think I've almost got the mixture right. Okay. Oh, if I hadn't left the top of it, it would have helped. I actually had this fairly liquid. There we go. So I'm beginning to get to the stage where not only do you find the right consistency, but then you have to work out how else can I do it. Okay, so I'm working on that one. This is left over from doing Doug's thing. Oh, this is an experiment so that I can personalize them. Wrong way. So you see, each time I do a color batch, I'm saving the bits and using it again in other ones. So it's just, to me, I hadn't realized how forgiving, when I say how forgiving soap is, but you actually, if you're careful, you can not have a lot of waste. And to me, that is, I really like that. The fact that my recycled shrink wrap is working is really, really exciting to me. And I've even used some of the recycled, you remember the cardboard I was showing you, how I took the top layer, the Amazon advertising slogans off cardboard and left the corrugated cardboard. I've already used some of that and it worked really well. So each week we will keep progressing and hopefully you will enjoy the journey with me, because what it is all about is, if you make the mistake, then you find the solution. Does that make sense? And so therefore, in terms of the topic for today, it is about, if you don't take a step, you won't fail. That's for sure. But what I want you to see is the bigger picture. How long have I been making soaps? A month? How many people can make this in a month? You know what I mean? It's like, it is like, to me, I don't want to make regular bars of soap as much as I want to make art, because I think it's just so exciting to do. And I don't think many people do it. But we will see. But all the time it's a problem. And now that we know we can get 3 sea breeze in one, they do look pretty together, don't they? Then it also means that I can get 3 spa bars in one as well. But I probably package them like that. So there we go. It's practical art, yes. And that's why, Jody, when I ask people, thank you for this, but are you going to use it as decor? Or are you actually going to use the soap? And I'm amazed how many people say it's just so stunning to look at. I go, okay, that's all I need to know. And that's why I'm making shampoo bars, to give them a practical soap. Because the shampoo bar you can use to wash your hair. You don't need conditioner because of the stuff in it. It's got all the bits already got it. It's like a, what do you call that? 2-in-1. And you can use it for your body, but you can also use it for your hair. And so to me, it's like, okay, then I'm going to throw in a shampoo bar as well. Here's the joke. People. If this is a spa bar, Is this a shampoo bar? Now, why did that amuse me this week? It's a poo bar. And I thought, no, maybe not. Maybe not. All right, people. So there we go. And wish me luck this week. Obviously, I'm going to be doing more work with the ice cubes. And I also am going to be doing work with the checkerboard. That'll be fun to do. Just, how. And then, do you want to see the failure that I did with the polka dots? Actually, I've got another one. Are you ready? You see, because to me, it's all about the process. Now, this, if it had worked, would have looked like a Christmas tree or icicle. Yeah, this is an icicle, all right? Snowflake. But unfortunately, it didn't work quite that way. That's okay. We will reuse it. We know that. And then this, Jody, was because I am going to make you polka dots. But I think it might take a year to dry in here. So I need that fast setting soap in here. So I got to do some more. Yes, they do make those embossed things that you can use. Um, but they all have the identifier on the they have the ID number on the packaging. Is that what you're talking about? Because once you use the soap, you're not going to see that identifier. So that's why the identifier is. I've got soap on me now, people. But keep talking like that. I'm amazed. When Sierra starts talking, I take a notepad. I've probably got a list this long of different of fragrances that she would like to see. Oh, they have different. They have totally different packaging and everything. So, and the other thing is they have different ingredients in them. All right. So they and different fragrances. So it's quite a business, literally. Um, oh, Kimmy's going to have two teeth out next week. Wow. I think I've got to have three. I'm scared to go to the dentist, quite honestly. Are they ones that are important to you? In other words, are they part of your main frame, if you like? Yeah, and we wish you lots of. When are you having that done, Kimmy? Just so we can keep track of it for you. And did they find out the pacemaker answer yet? Did they work that out yet? Because I know that that was giving a problem. I'm surprised that you're having teeth pulled. Oh, maybe they have fixed the pacemaker already. The reason I say that is having teeth pulled is a high stress thing. And if my pacemaker were not working properly, I probably would save that a little while. Ah, okay, well, best of luck. Ah, now interesting, Manon, to know that you don't like aloe vera. That's the other thing that I found is really important because the sea breeze has a lot of different soaps in it, all right, to get the different colors. It's in a pack of 3, so. And so it's good to know that you you can't take aloe vera. Jody, could you make a note so I don't send Manon something with aloe vera on it? And that's really what I find why it needs to be personalized. Um, and what I found, for example, was I had one of the butterflies was done with lemongrass, and Siora is allergic to lemongrass. So it is one of those things where I think these sort of specialty soaps are very personal. And that's what I want to do is, okay, you like the design. Now tell me what I do or do not put in it. So, for example, I will have a note now on Manon's file that said whenever I make soap for Manon, don't put aloe vera on it. Yeah, but it's the same thing. But it's important. I think really important. And that is why I have put the ingredients at the bottom, and also the what essence I used is on the bottle, on the packaging. Hang on a second. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, Manon. Like on this one, the fragrance is peppermint oil, and I've highlighted that. Okay, so that's important for people to know, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And to me, it's like I because of their coloring, I obviously put rose into these. But who was it? I think it was Jeannie who said she doesn't like lavender. No, wait a minute. Doesn't like. I think anyway. I've got a note. Whatever it was that Jeannie told me. So it's it is a very important thing to just keep good notes on these things. But is there a possibility that there'd be a hint of something somewhere? You've never seen garlic in soap either. No, I was thinking about that. As I was talking about it, I'm going, yeah, I don't have to worry about garlic. However, it has been fascinating. And the first time I do polka dots, I'm going to be so excited because I will do it. I'm going to use that fast drying soap and color it. That's going to be my experiment this week. Hi, Autumn. Good to see you. So, 3 sea breezes in a box. Wonderful. Yeah, exactly. So Jeannie's saying rose is not her favorite, but she does like lavender. The other thing is, it is difficult. I found that's the difficulty is that people like the look of them so much they don't want to use them, and that's why I need to throw in something they will use. And that's why I'm doing the shampoo bars without any, without any fragrance, without anything. It's like I know you will use this and love it. Um, it's just like that is the important thing. The shampoo bar will have instructions on it, Manon, just so that you know, all right, that you can use it for whatever and not to eat it. This is DearMamaSal saying, take some steps in the wrong direction if you must, but keep taking the steps. Think about Jody and that air conditioning. It took her 6 months to get that fixed. How are the twins, Autumn? It took Took her 6 months to get that line put into her place. 6 months of not being able to use a light in the kitchen. But she learned how to cope without it. Yeah, Manon is saying, and that's important as well. Manon is saying you can't please everyone, and that's also okay, right? But when I can't buy something for me because of the ingredient, I love getting this as a gift for others. Yes, you might not be able to use it because, but what if you knew there wasn't any aloe vera in it? Would you be happy? The shampoo does not. As far as I know, I'll double check the ingredients in there. But it's just like it's really important that we understand that. The other thing is, if you use it as a display, it doesn't really matter what's in it, does it? So we will see, and I will keep telling you what I'm really fascinated with is the feedback, because to me that's it's like I'm doing the research at the moment for mailing stuff in different places. I'm doing the research to find out what are people's reactions to it. You know, um, so far, if you imagine that the first time somebody saw sea breeze, they ordered a whole loaf of them, right? That's 9. It's just like, yeah, I guess they like them. And it's not going to be everybody, right? Not everybody is going to be able to do that, but I think a lot of people will. And now that I can package it in sets of 3, that's also very clever. I won't be able to get, hang on, I'm just thinking about that. If I have this wrapping on it, I won't be able to get 3 in there. There's not enough room. Or it'll be an experiment, but I think I don't think it'll be enough room. I'll be doing that experiment this week. So, guys, we'll see you on Sunday. But I don't know what it is in your life that you need to take another step towards. Understand, like Jody, some of these goals that you have take far longer than you ever imagine. And that's what it is. That's life. Sometimes it just takes so much longer. Kimmy, it depends what sort of bar. Kimmy's asking how much are they. What I call the simple bars like this, they're $5. Um, but the seafoam type ones at the moment, and the other ones are 8. Anything that takes what I call a lot of work, like this. All right. Because it takes time to do that. And then remember, you've got shipping cost on top of that. And that's why it's actually much better to buy 3 than it is to buy 1. And that's why being able to do it in a set of 3 is really awesome. And we will be pricing that one out as well. All right, I'm out of here. We'll see you on Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to be busy putzing. But first, I'm going to take a break. I don't want a break. No, I'm going to have a sit down and rest. The temperatures have been pretty hectic, and they're going to get a lot worse for another couple of days. So I don't know what it's like, but I can tell you it's not as bad as Maui. And that's what I keep reminding myself, that I am so fortunate. This is Dear Mama Sal saying we'll see you on Sunday. And thanks for the help, Jody and Jeannie. And the rest of you, thanks for being here as we go on this journey of yet another hobby. And we'll see where it takes us. Bye-bye for now.